friends. This is Lana Tabor, and welcome to Color Me Autumn, Altenew Video Hub for the month of September. Happy fall, everybody! We are officially started the fall season, and I hope you are ready for the upcoming holidays, or at least getting ready. Today, I am going to show you some hopefully new and refreshing your memory on some old techniques. We're mixing some new products and some old products. And let's get started. And for this project, as previously mentioned, I'm going to use something new and something old. And my old element is going to be this fabulous stamp set. It's called Leaf Canopy. And this stamp set is quite old. I am not entirely certain, but I think it's been discontinued. It is a fabulous stamp set and very well loved, as you can see. It was actually released in 2018, so I am not sure if this is going to be available. For my new element, I'm going to use this beautiful, delicate magnolia die set. I'm going to use my fabulous mini blossom die cutting machine. Now, if you don't have this die cutting machine in your craft room, you need to get it. This is one of the most used supplies in my craft room. I use this thing every single day. So I am just going to continue on die cutting, and I will be back in just a second. Your time. And I have already prepared my surface here. And before I begin, I want to show you something very cool that Altenew came up with this phenomenal system called a keyhole system, which makes layering your die cuts very, very easy. I grabbed some Altenew blending brushes. They're phenomenal and perfect for blending. And I'm starting off with Peachy Keen. Now, I wanted to also mention a couple of things here. First, I am using a sticky mat. This is Altenew's phenomenal thing for all of you who like stenciling and ink blending. This tool is a perfect tool to have. This sticky mat is made out of photopolymer, which is exactly the same thing that the stamps are made of. It's very sticky, it's fabulous, and once you put your paper on it, it's not going to slide. Next thing, what I actually did, and this is my personal preference, is that I left the acetate from the original packaging still intact, and I actually never removed it from the backing of that mat. And once I put it on the silicone mat, this silicone mat is also from Altenew. They grip on each other so well that I don't have to actually worry about this mat sliding anywhere. And I just want to tell you that little tip that I am using whenever I'm doing some ink blending or stenciling. So my first layer of ink was Peachy Keen. And all I'm doing is actually just adding that ink in a circular motion, nice and easy. And this color that I am using right now is called Mandarin Burst. And these are Altenew Fresh Dye inks. These are also new and I believe also released in March of this year. My next color is Tangerine Dream. This is going to be a little bit darker orange, and I'm going to add it to the second layer of the flower. As you know, you're going from the lightest to the darkest color, and of course the bottom layer is always going to be a little bit darker than the top layer. I want to take this opportunity to let you guys know that Altenew is giving $120 away in total prizes today. So you have a chance to win one out of three $20 gift cards or one of four $15 gift cards to altenew.com to purchase whatever you want. And make sure to leave a comment on each and every hop, and please make sure to follow. Click that bell button and give it a thumbs up to help us grow so we can bring more creative content to you. Now back to my ink blending. What I am using here is Choco Hazelnut. This is a very nice and dark brown ink, and all that I'm doing is saturating the center of the flower with that brown, and next I'm gonna go with Tangerine Dream and adding some of that beautiful rich orange to the edges of the petals. And last but not least, I need to color the center of the flowers. And once again, I am using Choco Hazelnut, and I'm really not worrying how this is going to look, just randomly adding that color however I want. And next, I'm going to use Tangerine Dream to actually complete the blending and add that finishing touch to my little die cuts here. I'm going to clean this mess up, and the next step is the assembly of the flowers. I just could not help but show you how easy it is to assemble die cuts like this. Before I begin, I always like to add a little bit of glue to my scrap paper. That way I can dip the die cuts into it, and it's never going to have too much glue, but just enough. So you see this little arrow here. I'm gonna poke that piece out. We don't need it. And all you have to do is actually put this layer on top of the bottom layer. Just dip it in glue, dab the excess on that scrap paper, and simply match the bottom and the top layer together, just like so. As you can see, that shape is perfect. And that's exactly the same thing that you want to do with the top layer. Again, dip it in some adhesive, remove the excess by tapping the extra glue on that scrap paper, and match that shape with the bottom shape. In this case, this is the arrow. Allow it for a few seconds for that adhesive to set, and that's it. The main pieces are put together. Now I'm gonna add the ends of the petals here. Just follow the guide and just add it to the edge of your petal, and look how beautiful and realistic that looks. It's always easy to work with liquid adhesive because it gives you that extra wiggle room, so to speak. You can reshape your die cuts nicely because that glue is still not completely set. And that is one of the reasons why I'm using liquid adhesive. And the last thing to add is, of course, the center of the flower to cover that hole, and that's it. I'm gonna allow this glue to set for a few moments, but look how beautiful this is. I'm gonna continue with assembling my flowers, and I'll be back in just a second. Now, take a look at these beautiful flowers. They honestly look so beautiful and so vibrant. I absolutely love them. Now we're going to create a simple background. Again, I am making a slimline card, and for this, I am using Stamp Wheel 2.0. This is a second release of Altenew stamp wheel. The stamp wheel is phenomenal. I like it even better than the first stamp wheel. You have the option here to remove the edge of the stamp wheel, which will allow you to create such a beautiful and continuous look without those edges actually interfering with your card. I'm going to use the smaller leaves here and start from the top all the way to the bottom. Next, I'm going to grab the top of the stamp wheel and pick up that stamp. Next, it's time to ink it up. I decided to go with some darker colors here. I picked mangrove root, raw amber. Next is sea forest, marshland, and misty moor. These are shades, they're in between green and brown. I really can't describe these shades, but they're just absolutely beautiful inks. And now I am just adding some of that ink all over my stamp. There's really no rhyme or reason how I did this and why I did this way. Just want some more interest to my stamp. Add some darker color and some lighter color and let that ombre effect speak for itself. Now, when it comes to dye inks, you are going to get that splotchiness. This is normal. So once again, I'm going to repeat the process and stamp one more time. It really doesn't matter what kind of colors you pick and if these colors are going to be the same or not on the exact same spot. You want to add more interest to your images, so don't worry about how these inks look on the stamp. Once you stamp, the colors are going to blend so beautifully and you are going to end up with such a nice stamped image. Look how pretty that looks. And now I'm going to use a piece of post-it note to mask that stamp just so it doesn't interfere with the previous image, and repeat the process. Pick up the stamp with the stamp wheel or the lid, flip it over, ink up the stamp, and again I am using different colored inks here. You can also use one color ink if you wish. It doesn't have to be multiple colors. I just like that gradient look and it gives a little bit more interest. Next, turn it over and simply stamp. And if your image is too splotchy, then repeat the process of inking up your stamp and simply stamp one more time. And this is where the Stamp Wheel 2.0 really comes handy. I stamped all the way to the bottom of my paper and still need to finish the pattern. If I kept my cardstock in the same spot, I wouldn't have the space to stamp properly. But popping off the edge of the stamp wheel, I've got plenty of room to slide my cardstock down and finish the stamping without any trouble. And one last time, I'm going to position the stamp all the way to the bottom to complete the pattern. Add a post-it note for masking. Get the wheel and pick up the stamp and repeat the process of stamping. So my pattern is completed and it looks absolutely beautiful. The only thing that it's left to add is, of course, a sentiment. I am going to get a sentiment from the stamp set and I want to add it right here on the bottom. And once again, I am going to pick up the stamp with the stamp wheel here. I'm using permanent black ink to ink up the stamp, just like so. Then simply pick up the wheel and stamp. And that is absolutely perfect. And here we are, almost at the end. This is my absolute favorite part, and that is the assembly. So to attach the card panel to the base, I am using simple liquid adhesive, and I like to add a little extra of that adhesive right on the back of my card panel and just adding it directly onto the card base. Next, I'm going to use Altenew foam tape to add some dimension to my die cut flowers. Peel it off and attach it to the card. And I want to add these flowers to the spots where my stamped images are connecting. That way you're not going to actually be able to see the imperfections of stamping. As you can see right there, they're not fully connected. So I'm just going to cover it up with this beautiful die cut flower, and no one will ever know. And it looks so perfect and seamless. And there is only one more thing left to be done, and that is embellishing. Now I'm going to get this beautiful orange enamel dots and just put them on. These enamel dots are so beautiful and so perfect for any project. They give a lot of beautiful interest and come in a lot of colors. And that is it. We are done with today's project. I am so happy with how this card came together. The crisp white background keeps everything clean and elegant, and those orange flowers just pop so beautifully. Such a timeless, classic look. A huge thank you goes to Altenew for hosting this hop and for letting me be part of such an inspiring crafty team. Please don't forget to subscribe and follow for more fun and hopefully useful content. And make sure you hop through all the channels for your chance to win one of Altenew's gift cards. You'll find a full supply list down below. And if you have any questions about today's project, just drop me a comment. I love hearing from you. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you very soon with something new. Bye-bye.